Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
extras in here? No, they're probably, I think they're all in the drawer of my nightstand, aren't they? Okay. Yep.
Oh, all right. Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 235. Holy cow. Cheers. You're not going to cheers me?
I don't have a beverage. Oh, I guess I do.
You got the water.
I forgot that I had it sitting there.
You want one of these? I will get you one.
That's the only one.
No, there's only one, isn't there?
No.
Oh, there was two left. There was two left.
I'm not sure when.
Yesterday, or the day before.
Maybe there is. I don't know.
Would you like one? I'll go get you one.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, we made it. We're what? What time is it? It is 9:30. We're half hour late. I apologize. We
Little woke up for a moment.
A little late getting the kids to bed. A little late getting dinner on the table. That's my bad. But we made it. We're here. So we got a pretty packed show. It's just Angel and I today. FaZe works tonight, so he works every other Thursday. So we're going to try and carry on without him, and he'll be back next week. We've got a whole another show planned for next week. But today, before we get into what we're talking about and what we're doing and what we're talking about today on this podcast, let's talk about what's been going on outside of gaming and all that such. What have you been up to as of late?
Started my third job.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's like over your shoulder.
Okay.
Anyway.
It really wasn't.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Maybe you think, whatever.
You're good.
Yeah, so I started my third job. So for those of you that don't know, I teach preschool, I do photography, and now I am working at a local charter school, just a couple afternoons, and then a full day on Friday, working with smaller groups, trying to get these kids caught back up after being virtual all year because schools are starting to go back to face-to-face.
Right. So you're kind of like the, hey, come on back, it's okay, we're kind of like the guidance counselor.
No.
Are you kind of like Mr.
No.
No?
No.
So you're just trying to help them
get caught up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, so not everybody does well learning virtually, and
I got
and
you.
not everybody gets online to learn virtually, even though they should. So, no, I'm there. So if there's a class of 25 kids and a teacher's working to try to get these kids who should be reading but don't even know their alphabet yet because they're so far behind, like we're trying to get them up to speed on where they should be by the end of the school year. So, some kids are there and some kids just aren't where they need to be, and so that's kind of where I am. So we have more people working with these kids to get them
up
to speed.
That makes sense. So you're not the guidance counselor.
No, no.
You don't want to be a guidance counselor?
That's not my
Mr.
role
Mackey?
at all.
Okay.
Not my role at all.
Jokes are bad. Okay.
Teaching. So
what else has been going on around here?
Up to that, working with our kids. My preschool's been on spring break.
Oh yeah, so you've been off
That
of
job.
one of the jobs for the past week.
Yeah,
This
off of
past
that
week.
job. So yeah, next week will be my first week with really all three, three, because I have a wedding. My weddings start back up here the 27th.
So your first full week with like all three jobs are literally like, boom, here's all three, like wedding on the weekend.
Yeah.
Kids in the morning, kids in the afternoon.
Our kids when we get home.
Our kids in the at night, like, whew,
yeah.
that's
it's tiring.
You can do it though. You can do it. I believe in you. I have faith in you.
Okay.
Started
watching a new show.
We did start it on. You did start watching a new show. Want to talk about it? Go for it.
Sure. So, after kind of hearing I listen to 107.7 on the mornings. I'm allowed to drive by myself and not have to listen to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Lego Movie 2 for the 15th millionth time in the back of the car.
I might add we've changed the DVD. It is now Oliver and Company.
Oh, okay. So back to Oliver and Company.
He did want to watch Frosty, and I said no. We are not watching Frosty in May or March. Like,
yeah.
Put my foot down on that one. That 4-year-old did not get that wish.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
So the mornings when I'm actually allowed to listen to the radio, I usually listen to 107.7 in the morning, and I'm kind of late to the program here, but a lot of the talk was around this new Netflix show called Bridgerton, and I had been interested to see it, just hadn't actually got around to it, and with you really working on the wedding videos a lot in the evening lately.
Yeah,
I've kind of had the TV in the bedroom to myself, so decided I would start watching it. It's produced by Shonda Rhimes, big name in TV production. I don't know if you know much about her.
I'm just reading about it now.
Yeah, so she produces Grey's Anatomy. How to Get Away with Murder, The Catch, Scandal. Like, there's just a ton of big, well-known TV shows
The
that
Catch,
Scandal, Private Practice,
Station 19,
Yep.
For the People.
Yep.
I haven't heard of any of these shows. I'm on Wikipedia, just like Crossroads.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of like really big name shows that she's a producer on. So, but this is a Netflix one. She's got her own production company, Shondaland. But it's a Regency drama. So taking place in 19th century London, but it's kind of like an alternate history where it's very like everything's very racially integrated. So, where in our 19th century London, it would have been, in a lot of like the historical dramas and movies, it's all very, there's not a lot of integration. In this, there is, the Queen Charlotte in this is, I guess that's kind of where things spun off from. They even talk about one of the, I think she's a duchess in this show, talks about how because the queen had mixed race heritage, they were allowed to now hold property, and like she goes into it. They make a point of saying, they've paved a way for us to hold titles and land, and this is actually the episode I just finished watching. The Duke of Hastings, he even says, well, they've said that we can hold these things, but they can take it right back. So it's kind of interesting, but it's a very colorful, like the clothing is bright, and it's just very, I don't know, it's an interesting take on this type of show. It's not your regular, like, Jane Austen, Regency, London kind of thing. But, yeah, so the Bridgerton is the name of the one family that it kind of centers around. One of the daughters is coming out into society and trying to find a husband, secure a good match. And then it kind of follows along the other siblings and what they're doing as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's not, I think there's only 8 episodes currently, but I do believe that they are coming out with a second season. So I don't know if you are into that kind of thing. It's good.
What season? This is the first season.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're actually getting on like ground floor, kind of.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm a little late to the game. I'm not sure when it very first started. December. So it came out in December.
That's not bad.
It says it here. I'm looking at Wikipedia as well. Most watched series on Netflix.
Okay.
82 million household viewers. So pretty big.
82 million. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And it was renewed for a second season. So,
it would be interesting to see, like, kind of like just a case study would be like if they launched it simultaneously on like a traditional TV network
versus streaming,
just to see, because you can always like draw parallels and stuff like that. But like, oh, well, this show started on Netflix about the same time as this one on CBS or NBC or whatever, Fox or whatever. But you can never really tell. Because they're not the exact same show, who's, the interest level between the audience members might be slightly different and skew the data. But that would be an interesting thing to see how many, like, viewers have jumped ship and gone to, like, a streaming service like Netflix.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, I kind of like watching on Netflix. I mean, you don't have to contend with commercials and breaks, and especially when they drop like an entire series at once. I don't know. I kind of like binging, but at the same time it's kind of bad because then I'm
up all night.
Yeah, that's the problem. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to with that.
Okay. Anything else going on? Nothing.
Not that I can think of. Is there something that I'm missing?
No, I'm just asking. Let's see here. So, I, as you might tell, glasses. 4 eyes. And no, this is not. They're not new. I've always worn contacts. Just a couple days ago, I went to bed and my eye was really red, and like I wear my contacts when I sleep, which is bad. Yeah. I know, it's bad. But usually when it starts to get red, I'll be like, okay, it's time to change. That's usually the kind of marker that I was like, okay, it's time to take them out and change them.
My eyes are angry with me. Maybe I should take my contacts out.
Not like this bad, like not like bold,
right.
Just like there is no white anymore. It's just red. Like nor it's like, okay, my eyes are a little dry. I should probably take contacts out and change them. But this time it was just like snap. It was just like, and I don't know if it was like you said, binging, the the wedding videos and like working on the computer and like just like like seriously probably about, I want to say somewhere
You've been
around
doing a lot of screen work
16 hours of screen time, you know, between work and wedding editing.
That's right.
Wedding video editing. I don't edit people's weddings. I just edit their videos.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I went to the doctor yesterday. They didn't say it was any type of infection or anything like that. He like looked all in there. Isn't any like cataracts or I can't remember what the other word he looked for. And he's like, it looks fine. He's like, he even commented, he's like, because he asked me when he came in if I wore my contacts in bed, and I said yes. I'm not gonna lie to the guy. Like he's clearly gonna tell that I have. He's like, well, and his exact words were, based on the quality of your eye right now, I'd probably stop now while you're ahead. So I guess this is the point of diminishing returns.
He scare you into it?
Well, not only that, but like he's sitting there like he's on it. Like I've got my face like in the little cradle thing, and he's like zooming around. Ow, I keep hitting my glasses. God, I can't stand wearing these things. He's like zooming around. He's like look up, look down, look left, look right, go left to right, and like, and there's somebody over on the computer typing away, and I'm like, and I keep hearing him say like the word injection over and over and over again, and I'm like, this dude is gonna stick a needle in my eyeball. Not to mention, so the other thing, when you first walk in this room, there's a picture of I think it's a cataract. Have you ever seen? Do you see? Do you know what they do to remove a cataract? They stick a needle in your eye and suck out the juice that's behind your lens. Like, so there's this huge picture of this eyeball and this needle like going in between the lens and like the white part of your eye or your iris or whatever, and just like it's like ugh. So yeah, that was. Needless to say, I didn't have any needles jabbed in my eye that I know of. I did get the pressure of my eye gauged. Like, one of the assistants came in. He's like, "I'm going to check the pressure of your eyes." I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I thought he was going to have me put my face in that thing that spritz the air in. But no, he literally took a pen, like not like a writing pen. It was like a utensil, like pen, like an instrument, and it's got like this little push thing in it, kind of like a stylus almost, but not rubber. It's like plastic. And he's like, I'm just gonna stab your eye with this. I'm like, what? Like he's like, it won't hurt. Just look forward. Don't look at the pen. Like just look forward. So he like literally like pushed my eyeball. I'm like, oh god. And then he did to the other one. I'm like, that's not the one that's injured. Like, just focus on this one. Stop stabbing me in the eye with the pen. So I've never had that done before in my, 30 some odd years of wearing glasses.
Okay.
So that was exciting. God, what else has been going on this week? I've gotten a ton of wedding videos edited. I'm rounding the corner to finishing my fourth quarter from 2020. Thank God. Like I know people are waiting. I appreciate your patience. I'm working as hard as I can on that. Actually, after this, that's what I'm going to be doing after this. So, what else? I don't think is there anything else going on?
Not
Got
really.
a little bit of work done on the post holes, the fence out back. That's about it. I feel like there was something else. I should have wrote it down. My thing's blank. So, anyway, let's go over the overview. So first up, we're going to talk. So as far as the overview goes, we've got a new game studio announced. We're going to talk a little bit about... That was not good. See, my depth perception is really bad, too, so I'm like... yeah. So we're going to be talking about a new studio that was announced a few months ago, actually. This was a news topic that I put has been on the outline for months, and it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about this because it's really exciting. So we'll be talking about that new game studio and kind of their vision and things like that. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Microsoft Zenimax not merger, but acquisition. Mm-hmm. We knew about this back in September, but they finally okayed it. I don't remember the actual term for it, but they finally got approval for it. So there's pretty much nothing stopping them at this point. We're going to talk about kind of what that means for Xbox users and PlayStation users, and hey, PC users too. This affects you as well. We're going to talk about vaulting content. You heard of that? The word vaulting content?
Like the Disney Vault?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah. And more so on the video game side of things. But yeah, the same concept where a company will be like, hey, you can't have this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Disney is pro at
They're
it.
pro
and
at
have
it.
been doing it for a very long time.
They have been pro at it, but we'll be talking about that. There's and actually, Fortnite's the ones that do it mostly on that we're familiar with, but there's a couple other games that do it. But there's one in particular recently that's kind of struck a chord with some gamers, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
FYI, I've done a little research while we've been sitting here talking.
Oh.
Injection is not. He wasn't going to inject your eyeball with something. Conjunctival, which right? Like they say conjunctivitis. That's
Okay, before you go any further, we are not doctors.
We're not.
Don't take any medical advice from us. We are two photographers, videographers talking about medical equipment and things probably from what? Wikipedia?
Medical journals.
Medical journals? Okay. All right. Well,
No.
maybe take it with like a slightly smaller grain of salt. Go ahead.
Basically means your eyes red. Conjunctival injection or hyperemia is a non-specific response with enlargement of conjunctival vessels. So conjunctival injection, it's a term for having inflamed red your that area of your eye. So
I guess I should
it
give you
does not
like
mean that you're having a shot.
Oh my god, I was so nervous.
Sorry to go back to that, but I just was like, you know what? I bet that's actually not an injection, like an injection.
My eyes started in the water
term.
talking about this injection so much. Like, can we like not?
Sorry.
Anyway, and then the after show, we are going to be talking about Walking Dead. There will be spoilers, so we will warn you well in advance about that. But yeah, it's going to be some fun times. Can't wait. Some good stuff to talk about.
Yep.
So before we get into all that, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. You actually have some news that you didn't talk about, which you can talk about now. It makes sense.
That I got a Switch. My own.
Wow. That's very anticlimactic. You're like, oh, I got a Switch. Guys, I got a Switch. Like,
Yeah.
I was hoping for like a drum roll. And
No.
wake up Eli to give you a drum roll real quick.
Right. No. Yeah. I did. We have had a family Switch for a few years. Santa brought it to us.
Good old Santa.
Yep. And then Eli got his own, a couple months back.
Yeah, 2 months or so ago.
And he wanted his own for whatever reasons, I guess, just because he got tired of his brother trying to play stuff. And then I decided I wanted my own.
And you wanted your own for a different reason.
Well, because I play Animal Crossing, and while I love my island, I also have a certain 4-year-old who
Sawyer loves playing Animal Crossing.
who likes to go on and like pick up all the things that I've decorated the island with and
drop things off.
just drop random stuff all over the place.
I was walking around your island, your island, the other day, and noticed that there's just this random laptop just sitting in the middle of the walkway. I'm like, that must be Sawyer's.
Yeah. Although there are some other games, though, I think I'd play for it. I will play for it.
Well, you found out that, because we've got the Family Pass thing, so they can play online, you get free games with it. Like old school, like Mario games.
Yeah, although they're a little bit different. Like the Mario one, I think there's like 35 other players. Like you have to like race to the end, or like they're
not the actual Mario games.
It's a little bit different. Now they do have like emulators for it though to play the original stuff.
Oh.
But that and like the Tetris one, they're both a little different.
Oh. Well, now I'm not as excited.
That's not the original. Well, you can get the emulator still on there and play the original games.
You have to pay for it?
Probably.
Wow, that's a ripoff.
Why?
How many times have I bought Tetris and Mario?
Oh my god.
A lot.
Okay, well, don't quote me because I haven't really looked, but
Okay.
Those 2 free games that I downloaded were not what I thought they were originally.
I was bamboozled. We played. We had Ducky over the other night,
And we're gonna have her over again this Saturday.
and we're gonna have her over
I'm
again
so
this
excited.
Saturday. It's really exciting.
She's vaccinated. I'm halfway vaccinated.
Oh, is she fully vaccinated?
Yeah.
Oh. So me and Ruben will be the only ones that. Anyway, so we played some Mansions of Badness, and Amanda coaxed me into. We both went and say, like, this game, I don't know what it was. I apologize. I'm going to rub my eye. It's going to be gross if you're looking at my eye. Ugh.
Don't have it enlarged.
Right. Sorry. There's only one camera.
Don't have it
because we don't have
enlarged,
John
no.
here to switch them all over the place. So, anyway, This game picked on us the most, I feel like. I don't feel like Ducky and
she managed to stay pretty...
She managed to stay pretty much alive and sane. My brother... I don't think my brother took much of anything. But I went insane and was wounded, which meant like I went through all my health points and started it again. But when you went insane, your insanity card was end your turn with a blade in another square with another player, right? Or something like that, bladed weapon.
Yeah, so
Basically,
my win condition was I couldn't win the game as originally intended. I had to have a bladed weapon in a space with only one other player, and the game would end right there.
Yeah. And the game ended immediately, yeah. So, yeah, I don't think we were going to win anyway because of how close... What?
Sorry, I look... Let's finish this, and then we'll go back to what we were just talking about the Switch thing.
Okay.
Because you're going to be excited, and you're going to steal my Switch.
I'll just go buy my own or just use the one that we have.
That's true.
No. So we were you went insane, and you're like, and like literally like the moment after you went insane, I was like, hey, well, we need to try to get to this end boss because he's right over there in this other room, and try to kill him. I'm like, I don't have a bladed weapon no, I don't have a gun. I've got a bladed weapon, but no gun. I'm like, I'd like something that I can shoot while he's at a distance, so I don't have to run up because I'm already wounded. So I'm like, my health is diminishing fast. So I say, will you? Because I saw you had a blade. I was like, hey, or you had a gun. I was like, hey, will you switch your gun with me? And you, of course, just said yes.
Sure.
And I didn't even think nothing of it. I mean, like, there's so many of these insane cards, like. But yeah, as soon as I handed you the knife, and the game, like that round ended, you're just like, okay, game's over. I win. Like, oh god, everyone else loses. We also played Who Should You Eat, which was a fun game. 4 players, it's okay. I think that's more of like a 6. It supports up to 10 players. I can't imagine playing with 10, but that would be amazing.
Right.
But yeah, so we played that. That's a good game. You should definitely check that out if you've never played it. But yeah, okay, so going back to the Switch.
Going back to the Switch thing. So yes, it is free. With the Nintendo Switch Online service, Nintendo Switch Online membership, you get exclusive access to NES and Super NES games. There are more than 80 games.
Wow.
At no extra charge.
Okay.
So your included games would be Super Mario. All right, so this is the Super ones, or the Super Nintendo. Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Punch-Out.
Never played it.
Wild Guns.
Never played it.
I'm trying to go for Super Mario 2, Yoshi's Island.
Okay.
Star Fox 2, Donkey Kong Country.
Man.
Trying to go for some of these ones that are a little more well known. Let me go back here to the original Nintendo list here. Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. The original Zelda. Metroid. The original Metroid. The original Donkey Kong.
Original Metroid. Get wrecked.
Yep.
That was a hard game because like there was literally no, like that's one of those games like was very punishing, in the fact that there really wasn't much as far as like indication of what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like you knew that there were bad things around you and that you had a gun or a blaster or whatever you want to call it, and like, but there really wasn't like. Nowadays, when you play video games, like there's always a waypoint on where to go, and like there's text like, hey, you need to go to this location, and like all the locations on the map are labeled and all this stuff. Like that was one of those really, I mean, not quite to the to the ET.
Dr. Mario.
Ooh, Dr. Mario was pretty fun.
Excite Bike.
Ooh, that's a fun.
So yeah, I guess it was kind of redundant. I guess I didn't need to get you that original NES for your birthday this past year, did I?
It's still fun to play on the original systems.
But yeah, so like they come out with new ones all the time. So there was a February game update It looks like they released Psycho Dream, Fire and Ice, Prehistoric Man.
Prehistoric Man.
Yeah, there's like four. It's like at least 4 games here that they put on their February 17th. So it's like they're fairly regularly putting some different games on here.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's exciting to know.
We just gotta get new Joy-Cons.
It says you can you can help friends out if you play online. You can display a hand-shaped cursor on your friend's screen, use it to give them hints or point out strategic locations. You can even clap to congratulate them.
Or use it to annoy them.
Right. Some games you can connect online, play 1 or 2 player mode.
There you go. I bet the boys would like Excite Bike. That was a fun game. Sean had that game. We played that a lot at his house.
Cheer him on with voice chat. You can do do-overs. You can rewind your game. That's a little cheap for Mario and things like that.
No.
ZL and ZR if you make a mistake or want to retry a section.
No, turn that off. You can't. No.
That's illegal. No. Illegal maneuvers. But yeah, so sorry, that's probably old news to some of you people, but that's new to us. I'm not sure.
That's exciting. We'll have to check it out.
I'm not sure when that became a thing.
I don't know.
But yeah, there's a Donkey Kong Country. I love the original Donkey Kong Country. And Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3 are on here as well.
Nice.
So yeah, that definitely, and that's honestly, it's really a pretty good value.
Because isn't it like, is it $15 for the family or something like that?
For like the year.
Right.
It's like $30 for the family for the year, I think.
Christ, that's a nice deal. Considering we're paying $30 for the 2 of us for Xbox
for
Live.
12 months for the family membership is $35.
It's a pretty good deal.
Individual membership, it's $4 a month if you go month to month, or $20 for 12 months.
That's not bad.
No.
The one thing that I'll give credit to, and we'll talk about Microsoft here in a minute. Like, that's nice because Nintendo has a really good back catalog of games. Like their game, like timeless games. And if you want to go back and into our childhood, that's the only way that you can play them, unless you have one of those original consoles. Because most of the remakes are just trash. And if you want to go down the emulator route, that's now you're starting to get into like issues with legally downloading things to your PC, and anybody can put anything into them, and that's never good. Not all emulators are bad, obviously, but I've had my run-in with enough of that crap that I'm just like, you know what, it's not worth the risk and stuff. But that's really cool. But giving Microsoft credit, like their Game Pass, while they have a decent kind of back catalog and stuff like that to play, there's a lot of games on there to play. Like they're really good about releasing brand new games day and day with their street release, which is it's kind of like it's like another ball game, like another it's not the same thing as
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that then. Let's just go right into the Microsoft.
The family membership, you can have up to 8 Nintendo account holders on the same family membership.
Holy cow, that's insane.
Uh-huh. They don't have to be on the same system or anything. Just eight Nintendo accounts. 8
individual like email addresses, huh?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know how they can manage to maintain that, but
I mean, I guess it's just free money to them, like.
Yeah.
So let's just go. We're just going to jump right into the Microsoft acquisition. So Microsoft purchased Bethesda. Well, not really Bethesda. Zenimax is the parent company of Bethesda. id Software is in there as well. It's the company that makes Doom, the Doom series. Bethesda is the one that's most well known for like Fallout and Oblivion or the Elder Scrolls series. There's a few other ones in there. But back in September, I think it was in September, they had published that they were trying to acquire them. And they finally it says this week, but this was about 2 weeks ago. They received approval from both the European Commission and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissions to purchase them. $7.5 billion. That's a lot of money. I mean, And so, like, the first thing, so, like, when this was announced, I don't think we talked about this when they announced it, like back in September. But like, all the PlayStation people were freaking out because they're like, oh my God, we're never going to be able to play, like, Fallout ever again or Oblivion ever again. But while that's still true, some of that there is some truth to that. Who was it? Their executive vice president of gaming at Microsoft, his name's Phil Spencer, put out a tweet or did an interview where it says, with the addition of Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PCs, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games. So keyword there, new, right? So new games going forward, right? They're still going to support, the other game, including new titles in the future, which will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players.
Right.
So,
so bad time to own PlayStation.
Bad time to own PlayStation. But the good news is with this acquisition, as soon as this was approved, Microsoft put up like 12 new titles on their Game Pass to play. So like for free. Well, you got to subscribe to the service, but like let's see here, what were they? So where did it go? Did I not put it in here? I thought I put it in here. Oh, here we go. So they added Doom. So some of these might have already been added. So right now, as far as like the Bethesda like library, Doom Eternal's on there. Doom 64, which is the Nintendo 64 version, obviously. 1, 2, and 3. Fallout 76, Fallout 4, Dishonored 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and Wolfenstein Old Blood. Rage 2, Skyrim, Morrowind, Prey. Ooh, I didn't realize they had Prey. Hopefully we'll get a better sequel to that. Oblivion, and then The Evil Within. So some of the comments online and some of the articles that were written were talking about what happens to studios when Microsoft acquires them and how they pretty much run them into the ground. And the two main examples, or one of the main examples, was Lionhead Studios. Do you remember them?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what they put out.
I think it's on the wall. You can't see it.
Fable?
Fable. That's the company that.
Is that Lionhead?
Yeah, it's what was Molyneux? Peter Molyneux was their like lead developer, studio head or whatever. He was the big brain, like always talking like really big brain, like conversation, things like that. Like, oh, when you experience, he never said like play Fable. It was always when you experience Fable, it's going to be like your own story, and he was very eloquent when he talked. And so like it kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, and it's just like, hey, you know, some people are kind of like, you know, we just want to play games, but there's basically two major.
They had Black and White too. Remember that one?
Yeah, I didn't play that, but you're right.
I had that. Well, it was a PC game.
Yeah, that was before Microsoft purchased them, I believe. Actually, I think that was before Microsoft. Yeah, before Microsoft Game Studios even. But anyway, I don't think I would be too worried about Bethesda going out like Lionhead. Lionhead didn't really have a lot of games in the works, whereas like if you look at Bethesda's lineup, like they have so many different irons in the fire right now. Like it's kind of hard to see Microsoft just making that big of a purchase and just we're gonna close this studio and close this studio and close this studio, and then to turn around the day after the acquisition gets approved to release that stuff for free essentially to gamers on PC and Xbox. I think it's really cool. The other thing that people might forget is a month ago, Microsoft was going to increase the price of Game Pass and Xbox Live, and like everybody freaked out. They announced it on Friday and basically let it stir over the weekend. and then by Monday they reversed their announcement. But I think this is just showing good faith. Like, hey, we do have good things planned. We have they've been working on this for some time. Not that that they need to increase Xbox Live or anything like that. But I think this just brings how many more people into their service. Like I said, Game Pass and Nintendo are two different ecosystems, with Nintendo's being more like traditional and classics, and this is more of like new and exciting games and stuff like that, while still having like some really cool libraries. So for PlayStation fans, if you're still wanting to get in on it, you're gonna have to build a PC, which nowadays is really difficult because like graphics cards and like PC components are super expensive. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. Let's see here. What else? So, new game studio announcement. Yellow Brick Games. So, this is made up of some designers from some of the. Here, I'll name some of their franchises because I can rattle off their names, Mike, but you're not gonna recognize them. I didn't recognize any of them. But you will recognize the games. So from studio heads from franchises like Assassin's Creed, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, and Watch Dogs, they've created a small 15-person team. Well, keep in mind, this was a few months ago, like maybe 6 months ago. So I'm sure they've probably ramped up by now, but or maybe not, given the pandemic. But they've. So basically, their slogan, or like the interview that they gave, one of the things they were talking about was going back to basics of designing a well-told story and highlighting, or with a highly motivated group of designers. So this is, some really good games come out of small teams like that have this type of mentality where they're like, hey, we're not, we don't have this infinite budget from like Activision or Microsoft. We have to make a game that sells, and the only way to do that is by having good game mechanics and good storytelling. And I think being on an Assassin's Creed and Dragon Age and even Mass Effect. I've never played Watch Dogs before. I heard it's good, but I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. The other three I have played, and all really good stories. Mechanics can be shoddy with some of them, but still really good storytelling. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that studio.
They are currently hiring for a level designer.
Oh, there you go.
If anyone out there is a level designer.
And
wants to live in Quebec City, Canada.
There you go. Free healthcare. Although I heard it's hard to immigrate to Canada, and B, to get a working license in Canada if you're in America, or if you're from outside of Canada. I heard it's very challenging. The other thing that has me really excited, and this is something I hope to see from a lot of other studios going forward, is they're designing for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S exclusively. So hopefully we can start to transition. I know we don't have any of those systems yet, but I'm hoping that we can transition, like game companies can transition into the this not in between phase.
Our time may be limited.
Oh no. So
there's a lot of wiggling going on.
Oh no, not wiggling.
Sorry, looking at the video baby monitor.
Okay.
Just so people know what I'm talking about.
Let's switch gears to our discussion, and then we can kind of wrap up and then talk about Walking Dead. So vaulting content. This is what we're going to be talking. This is our discussion point for this episode. What?
Nothing.
So, you were absolutely right when you said like Disney does. They take a movie and put it in the vault, and then they don't sell it new anymore. Like, you can still buy it at like used stores and stuff like that, right?
Right.
They don't have any control over the secondary market. But one of the things, like that's kind of Bungie's actually kind of got in the starlight, so to speak, or limelight, or whatever you want to call it, for basically announcing that they're going to be vaulting planets and vaulting quests and missions, multiplayer maps, a whole slew of things from Destiny 2. And basically this, you can go on their website, Bungie.net, and read about all the stuff that they're removing. They're removing a lot of content. A lot of it has to do with like the Forsaken content, which I believe was paid DLC.
I don't know. We haven't played in a very long time,
I know.
so I'm so out of the loop on Destiny 2 things.
I re-downloaded it to my computer because it was free and played a little bit. I was like, holy, it looks gorgeous. But I'm just like, I'm so like lost and out of the loop.
I played a lot of Destiny. I never really got that far into Destiny 2. I don't feel like
I don't
nearly
think we did
as far
either.
as what Destiny did.
But we should start playing it again because there's a lot there. But
because we have so much time.
But people are kind of outraged because like this is content that they purchased, and basically what Bungie's answer was like, oh, well, we need to make room for more new content. So essentially, they're trying to keep their file size down on their game.
Yeah, but then you buy something, you can't just take it away. Like that is pretty crappy.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit of a novice here because I haven't played any of their paid DLC. I probably maybe barely touched Destiny 2 when I got out, so I'm by no means an expert at this. But I'm not sure if they're taking away like the full planets of the DLC or whatever. But like, what does that do to the story? Like, if your DLC, was so impactful that it required because their DLC their packs are usually $35 to $40. Like, if they were that impactful story wise, how can you just kind of rip that out? So basically, to keep file size down of their game, they're removing paid content for players.
I mean, I understand keeping sizes down there. We just talked about this on one of the other podcasts. I feel like, where they were taking extra code out of something.
Fortnite.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, Fortnite reduced like a whole bunch of they went from like 80 gigs all the way down to like 13.
But it's mostly just stuff from them. From what I remember, was just basically stuff running in the background, right? Like all this excess crap that's just in there.
Right, gobbledygook. But then you have on the other end of the spectrum, you have games like Call of Duty. I think it's Modern Warfare, which requires like 200 gigabytes to install because they don't delete anything. Like if you download it, it's yours. But I feel like I don't know.
That's why I've always been so great about buying digital games versus hard copies of things because you don't know what they're going to do.
But I mean, heck, nowadays everything's connected to the internet. You have to be connected to play Destiny. So even if you had a physical copy, it's worthless because as soon as they turn something off, it's like it's gone.
Yep.
But I wrote in here, multiplayers like Fortnite use the vaulting philosophy for game balancing and stuff like that. So if a weapon becomes too powerful or there's a huge change in their meta where people are using this gun in conjunction with this gun and they're getting unfair advantages. First they'll usually nerf one of the weapons so that and they're I think they do about weekly updates on that stuff. I feel like every time I turn on the PC to play that I have to update Fortnite. But they're usually pretty good about mitigating that stuff the right way. I feel like this is not. I mean, they need to. I feel if truly their reasoning for cutting out this content is to save space, I don't think that's a good look. I think they need to find a way to make it available. Besides, the game's only 30 gigs. That when you talk about the new Xbox having 500 gigs or a terabyte, old Xboxes can have anywhere from what I think it's 500 gigs to 250 or something like that. So you got a little bit of wiggle room there.
Yeah.
But let's see here. I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, sweet. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. Make sure if you're interested in the discussion about Walking Dead after, we will be talking about Walking Dead in the new series. So that was episode 235 in the books. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you get subscribed to the YouTube channel if you're watching on Facebook. It helps out the channel a lot. Leave a like and a comment. I've also put Amazon affiliate links in the description of both the Facebook description and the YouTube description. So of some of the stuff that we talked about today. So if it's available on Amazon and use one of our links, it won't increase the price of your purchase, but Amazon will give us a kickback for you making that purchase because we sent you there. So there's a couple couple good games in there and stuff like that. Like I said, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 236. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Just look at me funny. So we're gonna give you guys a minute here or so to we're gonna be talking about spoilers, so we'll give a little bit of wiggle room for everybody to walk out. I should put like a spoiler thing on there.
You had one at one point.
Yeah, but it has been since actually it's on the other PC. So anyway, all right, so Walking Dead spoiler discussion. We will be talking about spoilers, so you've been warned. We're in the middle of kind of like this bridge season, like season 10.5 almost, I feel.
Yeah.
Where they've AMC is putting out 6 like kind of like filler episodes. Really short or small cast members, not a lot of people involved.
Yeah, at least as far as we've seen.
Right. Yeah. Because this was all shot during COVID.
It was. So they started filming the next season, 10? No, 11. I believe they started filming season 11, then COVID hit. So they had to kind of go on a hiatus, and then they decided, I guess, to go ahead and write 6 more episodes as like an extension to season 10. So these are like extended season 10 extended episodes. Each one's given us a little bit of, well, we've seen some backstory. So the first one,
Home Sweet Home, Maggie returns.
It gave us some backstory onto kind of what Maggie's been doing. She's been gone for a whole season and a half.
Yeah. Which in the show it's years because her little boy has been born. Last time we saw,
he was a baby.
Was he a baby?
Pretty sure.
I haven't got that far back in my watch through. I'm going back through and watching it again.
I think. I don't
remember.
I don't either.
But he's
like 5 or 6.
5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
So years have passed.
Yep. Years have passed. Maggie left. This is all taking place after the events of season 10. So the Whisperers' War is over. And they're all dealing with the ramifications of what happened. So the kingdom prior to the Whisperers' War went down.
Yeah. Which that wasn't because of like any attacks or anything like that. That was more so like infrastructure.
Structure, yeah.
Like structures were burning, pipes were bursting. Like it was not inhabitable, so they left.
Right. And then Hilltop got destroyed, burned to the ground during the Whisperers' War.
Because Hilltop's the one with the windmill, correct? Or is that...
They both have a windmill now, but yeah, that was where the governor lived, that Maggie had taken control over.
The governor?
Not the What's the governor?
Hilltop. No, that was...
what was his name? What did they call him?
Oh, I can't think of it. The guy that was like scared. He played a major role when Negan was in power. Gregory.
Yes, Gregory. Yeah. So Hilltop was Gregory's place that Maggie took over. And then obviously she left.
And then when she left, Tara took over.
Yep. And she's been killed during the Whispers War.
Taking over Hilltop is not a safe
Right.
occupation. You should stay away from that job.
Right. So Hilltop's gone. Alexandria's been hit really hard because Beta took in the Whispers. They kind of stuck in through, I think, one of the underground tunnels, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they showed us?
Yeah.
And I think, from what I'm understanding, they depleted the food stores. So not only is the food gone, but they now have all the refugees from the other communities. So they've got a surplus of people and not a lot of food and resources.
Not to mention there's tons of bodies all over the place now because of all the zombies.
So now they're having some major struggles in Alexandria. So you're seeing kind of present day. These movies have a lot of flashback.
Yeah.
Or episodes. So you're seeing kind of current day, them going out and looking for food, or them going out and doing some different things.
Which, can we talk about that for just a second?
So each episode has been that way, but then either flashing back to.
Right.
So the first one was flashing back to kind of where Maggie had been.
Right. Which, can we talk about that for just a second? Like
the flashbacks?
No, not the flashbacks. Just the going out and scavenging for food.
Oh.
Like the apocalypse has been going on for almost
over
a decade now. Like, any food that was on the shelf, I don't care if it's Spam, is probably about expired at this point in time, or picked over, right? So at this point, really, this is the one problem I have with a couple of these episodes is where they're looking. They're looking in stores and other standalone buildings, and I feel like you need to look for an establishment kind of like Alexandria or the Hilltop where it's been overrun. Like, there was civilization at one point in time, and it's been overrun since then. So, you had Apocalypse, and then they rebuilt and built this civilization, and then that civilization fell. And I think that's where you need to go. That's kind of what they need to portray as far as having food goes. So having them stop at these mom and pop brick and mortar stores, I find it a little hard to believe that there's going to be anything worth any value to them in these locations. So
I've just clearing up some timeline things here.
Okay.
It's interesting. I found this article here because it is a little confusing. It feels like seasons 1 through 9, right, took a long time. Mm-hmm. They were out there for forever. But if you think about it, Judith was born in season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
So I mean, you're talking 9 months time, right?
No, season 1.
Judith.
Right, because it was at the prison.
That's not season 1.
No, you're right. It wasn't season 1 because season 1 was the farm, and so season 2 would have been that would have been season 2. My bad.
So it seems really, really like this long time has passed because we've watched so many things happen. But in reality, there's this timeline here. So, day 1 is what you consider the outbreak, right?
Yeah.
So Rick was in the hospital for approximately 60 days. So 2 months.
What's the website that you're at?
It's actually a Forbes site. Let me copy it to you.
Just put it in the thing here.
All right.
Anyway, you were saying.
It's not letting me copy. Do I have editing on?
I see you clicking there.
There. So it says day 83, Herschel's farm falls. So less than 30 days later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go day 300, the prison discovers. They lived there for about 200 days, so less than a year. 98 days later is when we find Negan. And then Negan's war ends. So it took only 4 months to get from the fall of the prison to get to the end of the Negan war.
Okay.
That whole thing is 4 months. From prison to end of Negan.
That's incredible.
That seems yes. So that's, yeah, things went really quick. So from Rick's death or disappearance, outbreak to Rick's disappearance or him getting helicoptered away is just over 3 years.
Okay.
So 9 seasons took place over 3 years.
Yeah. That's
Ah.
incredible when you think about how many seasons.
Well, Judith was only about 3 when he left.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
you
she
think about
was
like
little.
9 years of our life is 3 years
Of theirs. And then they had a 6-year time jump.
Yeah.
So, as the writer of this article points out, that means after that 6-year time jump, many of the characters have known each other for twice as long as anybody ever knew Rick. So, yeah. It's interesting to think about that in timeline. Now, this was written before the Maggie then time jump.
Right.
Because, yeah. But we know that she left sometime after Rick was dead, right?
Yeah.
In that 6 years, so we were about spot on then with saying that her kid was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been gone for, I mean, she was only with our people for 3 years.
And she jumped ship.
And then for 6. I mean, to say that she's part of our group, really, it feels like she's part of our group to us. And we're like, oh, she's back with her family. But really, she spent more time away from them than from anybody else.
Right, yeah.
So it's...
Because she's the only one that's left from her family from the farm. Because both her sisters are dead, her brother's dead, her father's dead.
Yep. She's the only one from the farm left.
The only one that she would have known from the farm that's still around now would have been Carol and Daryl. And Carl's not around anymore. Mm-mm. Which is a travesty.
Judith was not born yet.
Judith...
At the farm.
Yeah, not at the farm, but yeah, she held Judith at the prison though, like after the prison, so she was there for.
Well, and we were discussing this because we were rewatching. Sorry, we kind of got off track of what we were talking about, but
it's okay.
We were rewatching and talking about prison in real time when we were watching it. Prison to Terminus seemed like it was kind of like a long time, right? Mm-hmm. But in reality, that was the very next stop after the prison. I mean, and everybody separated for what seemed like a long time. But again, it seemed like a long time to us because there were quite a few episodes. But it was, okay, here's an episode following these 2 people, and then here's an episode following these 3 people, and then here's an episode.
Right, there was a lot of jumping around.
Right, because they weren't together. Everyone was spread out. So you have a lot of time, but they were all, like, during the same time period. So that whole, like, 2 months of our lives watching Walking Dead was spent during, like, this
60-day window.
This, like, month walk to Terminus, or however, I mean, probably not even a month, but yeah. So anyway, interesting side notes. We're kind of getting off track though of what we're talking about. We're talking about getting back on track here.
So Maggie returns.
Maggie's been gone for 6 years. The first episode of the extended 3 season 10. Maggie returns. Well, she returned during the season, but this talks about where she was during her 6-year
It also presents a new enemy too. So apparently there's someone called the Pope,
Right.
right? So
yeah.
there's this.
They're being hunted.
Yeah.
Maggie's being hunted.
Yeah. So Maggie showed up with 2 other people.
Elijah,
which is the dude with like the mask. Really good with the twin blades or whatever. And then the other guy, I think, had a bow or a crossbow or something like very Daryl knockoff-ish. Oh, what was that guy's name? I don't like him. He was...
I don't remember.
I can't remember his name. What was his name? I can't remember it now. Anyway, when you say it, I'll know it. But I'll remember it. But so she showed up with those 2. And they Cole. Yeah, I don't like Cole. Cole's kind of a jerk. But she shows up with those 2, kind of helps out. What's the pastor's name?
Gabriel.
But that was I keep getting them mixed up because this is episode 17. So they're running through the woods or whatever and basically being shot at, and the sniper or whatever takes out like multiple people.
A lot of her people.
Her kid goes missing at the beginning of the episode.
Right. The place where they were supposed to be was burned down.
Right. It was burnt down.
She thinks it's the return of somebody who took down this other camp she'd been staying at.
Right. So basically they find out that her kid's okay, but there's this one man was just murdering all these people out in the woods, and basically they all surround him, and he pulls out a grenade and says the Pope's, what do you say? I can't remember his quote exactly. Something like the Pope put a hit out on you or something like that, basically stating that there's going to be more assassins coming for her.
Right, and we don't know who this Pope is. I don't think she knew who this Pope was.
Right, but we don't know why either. Like that's like the huge question is, what happened in that 6-month period that
Pope marked you? That's what he said. Pope marked you.
That's right. The Pope marked you.
The group that he's one of the Reapers. That's what they call them, the Reapers. And she seemed to be very, very scared of this group called the Reapers. He blew himself up.
Right. Yeah. He basically, because he had like all the guns pointing at him, he just pulled out the grenade and then.
Yep.
So clearly, he's okay with killing himself over becoming captured, or yeah.
Yep. And little Glenn, oh my goodness, they had him with the baseball cap. I mean, it very was reminiscent of the young, early Glenn.
Yeah. Moment of silence for Glenn. Poor Glenn.
All right.
That's
over.
Episode 18 is fine.
I guess it also talks about some other places that they went. They went to the seaside and saw like this family home that she had that she was going to take Glenn to, but they didn't get to, so she took Herschel.
Oh yeah.
Herschel's the name of the kid now. She named him after her dad.
That's right.
And they talked about that. They talked about some various other communities that she went to and was staying with in Tennessee, I guess. So, sorry.
No, you're good.
We kind of jumped all that, or Maggie had been.
Right. So we know current day, we know that there is a new enemy called the Reapers, and there's a target on Maggie's back. So wherever she goes.
By somebody called the Pope.
By someone called the Pope. Probably not the Pope. Probably a Pope.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that's probably going to be our number one enemy going into season 11.
Yep. See episode 2.
Yep.
Went back. Daryl and Carol were heading out. Daryl was going to go out for I think a food run.
Yeah. This one I got a little confused on, like what we were watching and when we were watching it, because like there was a lot of time jumping.
Well, it started present day, and there's a lot of tension with Daryl and Carol due to the fact that they still can't find Connie. And Carol's recklessness that kind of got them all in trouble there.
Yeah. Carol has been very reckless. I'm now realizing this. Like after
she's always been very
going
reckless,
back, though. I think she has good intentions, but like going back and watching all the like even going back to like the prison and her murdering those 2 people that were sick with the flu, it was just like, we can't get the flu.
teaching the kids to use guns. I mean, she's always just kind of gone off and done what she thinks is best without consulting anybody else.
Right.
I mean, and then withdrawals when she gets upset. Either she gets kicked out. She lived in this little house outside the kingdom for a while. Didn't want anyone to talk to her. Didn't want, she kind of always retreats and goes and hides for a while, which is what she kind of did on the boat after the kingdom went down.
Right.
She went on that boat at the ocean side.
Yep. But anyway,
So-
this one was hard for me to follow because there was just so much going back and forth, and
There was parallels between present time and past time that they kind of wanted you to follow, but yeah, it started out
present day.
present day, and then it went way back to
Way
just
back.
after Rick died.
Right, when Daryl was like frantically looking for,
Mm-hmm.
kind of almost insane, like to a point of insanity, like looking for Rick.
Living in a little lean-to next to the river.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that for years, though. He stayed out,
Yeah.
not with any group, completely on his own for years, looking for Rick.
Because you don't realize that until now, but like they made references to him being gone for a while in like earlier episodes. Like whenever he'd walk up to someone like Michonne or walk up to someone,
Well, and you saw,
they would say something to him like, "Hey, when you plan on coming back?"
Yeah.
Or
I
someone.
think Carol visited him at like this little hut kind of place at one point. This Daryl's place.
Right. It sounds like she visited him often.
It looked like it.
Like she either would bring him food or bring him, supplies or something.
News
like
of things going on.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of where those flashbacks came in. It also helped us see, because Dog has been following him. And so you see Dog as a puppy, and then you kind of see the aging of Dog to realize kind of
That's
what
true.
time's passed. But you come to find out Dog belonged to this other lady who was also living solitary in this house not far from where Daryl had set up his little lean-to. He comes across her. She ties him up, not knowing if he's safe or not. And then we kind of see almost like this. Almost that was kind of like a courtship. Neither one of them really wants anything to do with the other.
Right.
She doesn't want to be around anybody. She just wants to be totally on her own. And Daryl kind of tries to make friends. Like you see, what is it? After a year and a half, he finally catches a fish and throws it at her house. Like, hey, here's a fish for you. I'm going to throw this at your front door.
Right.
And then what she turns around, comes and throws a fish right back at
Just my
him.
own damn fish.
Right. And then that's after they've known each other or known
Right.
that they're there for like a year and a half.
Right. Which, I mean, what really kind of sparked this whole thing was Dog. Like, Dog would run off and come visit Daryl, and Daryl would walk him back, and, they would kind of get to know each other a little bit over, just a little, like, not even get to know each other. Like
She wouldn't tell him her name for
No,
years.
Just like, thanks for calling, thanks for bringing him back. Like, what's his name? Dog.
Right.
And, like, that was kind of the end of the conversation.
Yeah, but it does. You kind of get the sense that he eventually moves in. I think. I
think so?
I think he's living there. I mean, they're at least having dinner together, so you can see that they're there. They eat meals together. They have some type of a romantic relationship.
Oh, yeah. People got pissed off about that.
Really?
You read any of the forum posts or anything like that? People are really upset about Daryl because basically, like, Daryl was like the one character that was like asexual. Like,
Oh,
apparently, I don't know. This is not me talking, but apparently, like, as far as like the
just you haven't seen them have any kind
he
of
hasn't
romantic.
he hasn't shown any interest like on that level. Yeah, he's shown interest in Carol, and yeah, he's shown interest like in what was the other girl's name? Connie.
Beth.
Connie and
Connie.
Beth. But that's not really like
But you've never seen him kiss anybody.
Right.
You've never seen. I mean, sorry, I'm hearing noise on the monitor. You haven't seen. you can kind of think that maybe he has certain types of feelings, but they could be brotherly feelings that you see him like. You don't really know.
Right. And this isn't to say that he's gay or straight or whatever, but it's like it's kind of left out in the open. So it could be gone either way. So people are legitimately upset that it's confirmed that he is now a straight male. Like, I'm like, really? Like, come on.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, people get upset about the stupidest things.
Yeah. So, yeah. He, in one of the flashbacks, one of the more recent flashbacks, you see where Carol comes up and kind of tells them about what's going on with, I think maybe the Whisperers war and stuff that's starting to happen. And so Daryl tells the girl, what's her name?
I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it.
Like, I can't think of what her name is. Laura?
I think you're right.
Tells her that he needs to go, and she gets all upset. Like, are you with me or are you with them? Or like, where is your place? Who do you belong to? Because
Lynn Collins.
Apparently, that's her
Leah.
real name. Leah.
I
mean, at this point, really, if you think about the fact that 6 years have passed and he was only with them for 3 years, he was with her just as long as he'd been with
it says
our group.
Here, after 17 months, starts a relationship of sorts with Daryl. So they were together over 17 months.
Well, 17 months later is when they started the relationship, right? But he'd been out there for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'd probably been with her longer than he'd been with our group.
No, not Rick. You think so?
He was with Rick for only 3 years.
You think he was there with her more than 3 years?
Yeah, because it had been 6 years since.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
And 17 months minus 6 years.
That time jump really kind of screws with you.
I know. So, and she asked him, like, where do your allegiances lie, basically? And he went out without really giving her an answer, only to come back and find that she's gone. Once he's out there, he realizes, like, oh, I belong with her. And he goes back to tell her, and she's gone. So he leaves her a note in the floorboards, which is really sad. Carol finds that note because when they're out searching for things, they come upon the cabin, and she doesn't know that it was that cabin. Apparently, he's told her about.
He's told her about her.
Leah, right? Yeah. But not a lot about her.
Right, not where and.
Yeah. So this then sparks him telling this whole story, which we're seeing in flashbacks.
Right.
So it just gives us a little more backstory on what Daryl had been doing during those 6 years, where Dog came from, and yeah. Season 19.
Episode 19.
Episode 19, which was last week's.
Yeah, last week's episode. One More is the title. And this focuses on Gabriel and Aaron, which Aaron's got the giant mace for an arm, which is very.
He can change it. He has different. It's like
utility
tools.
I like when he sits down for dinner. He's just like, "Where's the food?" Like, he just like pounds it into the thing. Like, I wonder if that's how he unscrews it. Like he pounds it in the table and just like unscrews it with his forearm, and then
maybe.
It's very like I'm thinking of like Transformers almost.
That's funny.
So One More. This is kind of present day. I don't think there's a lot of flashbacks, if any, of just these two trying. They've got a map from Maggie of places that might have food. So obviously they're searching for food for Alexandria to feed the horde of people that are there.
Which my thing with this is, if it's been like 9-10 years since the apocalypse started, and you're looking for canned goods, like canned goods aren't going to last 10 years. Yeah. So I have some issue with that. But I
wonder how. I mean, like, and here's the thing. Here's another thing that kind of devil's advocate, because I have the same qualms. Is we've seen our group manufacture their own weapons, so canning their own food. How far off of canning your own food is that? You know what I mean? Like it's still sealing substance. Gunpowder does go bad, so I'm assuming. But the one traveler lady had that book of like the book of inventions or whatever, essentially.
And that's who Maggie initially went off with.
Right. So maybe they have some type of information in there, but then again, you're scavenging like mom and pop shops for cans of beans.
Yeah.
Like,
it just seems kind of weird.
Right. Yeah.
But at any rate, if you don't look into that,
right. If you look past it,
right, they come upon this like warehouse that wasn't on Maggie's map, and
but this little one room mom and pop shop definitely was. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So yeah, they come upon this warehouse. They're looking for food. And they come upon this boar, right. Like locked in a closet. At least that's kind of what it seemed like. It was a closet, but anyway. So they roast it and eat it, and Gabriel finds some type of alcohol. Apparently a really nice alcohol. He talks about it.
Right.
And you see them start to play games, and they're clearly getting drunk. Looks like they're playing some kind of a card game, poker or something. And you do get some backstory on Gabriel talking about when he first started becoming a priest, I think. And you're starting to see a darker side of Gabriel.
Yeah, kind of one that he's kind of
giving
up
that
hope.
all people, like everyone who's left is pretty much evil. And then he wakes up and Aaron's gone. And we have this really creepy dude, who is, I can't think of his real life name. However, he played somebody in Terminator 2.
John Carroll Lynch? John Carl Lynch?
Yep.
As Eastman?
Yep.
Yeah. So he played is that him? It
wasn't Eastman.
That wasn't his name?
No.
Oh. It's not here. What was the guy's name? This is not a very good article. I wonder if it should be on IMDb. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I've got something right here. What was his name? Sorry, Maze.
Maze. There you go. Good call.
At any rate, Maze, this guy has kind of captured Aaron and sets the two of them down and makes them play Russian roulette. Essentially.
Yeah.
Saying you can point it to yourself, or you can attempt to shoot your friend here. Basically trying to prove that
what they were talking about that night.
Right, that their people are essentially bad and they're going to save themselves and shoot their friend.
Yeah.
But they don't. Both of them continuously aim the gun at their own heads. This dude gives some story about how his brother had left him.
Right.
And his brother's family. His brother and his family had left him. And they get him to let go. They tell Maze that he can be forgiven and all this stuff is, whatever. And it sounds like Aaron's going to take him back.
Bring him in.
Right. Take him back and to Alexandria. And before you know it, Gabriel's up and smashes his head in.
With Aaron's arm.
Right. Because Maze had taken Aaron's arm off.
Right.
The
mace, yeah. And then Aaron just like the sheer like dread, and
I think he even says like, "Who are we?" or "What have we become?" or some kind of
right. Well, and like
quote to that,
and like an interesting point that before Maze actually shows himself was Aaron was talking after they were intoxicated a little bit. Aaron was talking to Gabriel about how, he kind of has like a little bit of remorse that he, misses going out and finding people and bringing people in. He's like, we don't do that anymore. I don't know how you could a decade into the apocalypse. Like, I don't know who you plan on finding, but yeah, you can tell that there's some remorse, and like I truly think Aaron wanted to bring him in. Horrible idea. That dude was off. He was way too many crayons short of a box. But later in the episode, we find out, Gabriel was like, "How did he hear us?" Because like he kept mentioning things that they were talking about throughout the entire night. So clearly he had been like eavesdropping. So eventually they find this upstairs attic area, and there's Maze's brother handcuffed to a pipe against the wall.
Right.
Dead bodies in
the bodies of the brother's wife and daughter were there still.
Right.
And it says each with a single bullet hole in their skulls, which I did not notice upon the initial watching of it.
Oh, I saw the bullet holes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently the brother says he made me play. So he had done the same thing.
Oh, I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah. Apparently over and over again he mumbled he made me play. So he did the same Russian roulette thing with his brother. The brother decided to kill.
So we did get that from the after show, like where the producer or whatever, the writer of the show said, yeah, we wanted them, we wanted to, but we both looked at each other like, they did what? Like I saw the bullet hole, but like in like my idea was like, oh, well, when you turn to a zombie, put a bullet in your head.
Yeah. No, so this article says there's an awful poetry in the brother stealing the pistol from Gabe, raising it to his own head, and pulling the trigger. So, like, he eventually did put it to his own head.
Yeah. So.
Aaron, clearly looks like this. It did something to him. Yeah. Gabe doesn't seem at all fazed by what happened.
He's almost done everything but renounce his faith at this point. Like you can, at the end of season 10, when he kills that one whisperer that they capture, and he's just like, God told me to kill you. Like, dude,
yeah.
like you were supposed to be like the true north.
Oh, yeah, like I've spoken to God, and he said, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because like the whisperer guy's like, well, what does your God say? Shouldn't your God tell me to let me go? He's like, I spoke to you. Or he said something about talk to your God about what you should do with me. He's like, I spoke to God. He told me to kill you. Like,
right.
Whoa, you're a little insane.
Yeah.
That's where you lock them both in.
Yeah. Gabe's kind of, I don't know.
So that's episode 19.
There's a new one that released tonight?
Yep, there's a new one tonight.
That should tell us a little bit more about the fate of Eugene and... Is it not Magda? Princess, but one of the other ones that they recently brought in.
Oh, yeah. The one chick, I don't know what her name is. I know who you're talking about. I don't know her name. Margie? No. I don't remember her name. She,
the king? King Ezekiel was with them?
The king's with them. I do know from the comics that this is someone for, I think...
Yumiko.
Yumiko. Yeah. From the comics, that the armor that they're wearing is very reminiscent of the Commonwealth. I don't know if that's who it is, but that's who we assume took Rick. So maybe we're trying to bridge that gap. I'm holding out hope.
Yeah.
But
so that's what should be tonight.
So yeah, so if you have Amazon, Amazon or Amazon Prime and AMC
Plus, yes,
you get early access to it, so you can see it. This actual episode will air on Sunday night. So yeah. Looking forward to checking out what's going on with that. So what do you think of this small, like, kind of bite-sized episodes?
They're not holding my attention as much as the other season, I guess. It's good to have the backstory, though.
Do you think that's because some of these characters we just don't care about as much, or some of these characters are kind of played out, or we're missing some of our main people.
Well, Princess is a new character. Maggie's been gone for a while, but I mean, I'm glad to see she's back. But they didn't show us where she went. Hers was more in words versus like actual flashbacks to what she was doing. Whereas with Daryl, we got flashbacks. I'm not sure what it is.
I'll tell you one thing.
There's less action, so maybe it's just...
They're more story than action.
Yeah, and you feel like, because you know that they came as kind of almost afterthoughts. Mm-hmm. They'd already started filming the next season, and these were kind of almost like afterthoughts that, like, you just don't feel like there's going to be a whole lot of, like, meat to them.
The other thing that we did not mention, and we probably should have, is in the Maggie episode, she interacts with Negan for the first time since Negan murdered Glenn. Right. So, like,
he's been locked up.
He's been locked up and since been released, escaped twice, but he's kind of freely walking around Alexandria. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that at all. That's a pretty big. I mean, and Negan knows that there's no way that
Maggie
he'll be able to. Yeah, and they kind of talk about it in that after show or maybe it was Talking Dead, where Negan was just starting to win the hearts of people around him by saving
Judith during the blizzard,
saving the Walker or the Whisperer child, Leah. No, not Leah. What's her name? Oh, I can't think of it. Oh God, what's I can't remember her name now.
There's a song, Tattooed. Not Julia. The tattooed lady. Lydia.
I knew it was an L word or L name. So he saved Lydia. I mean, he did a lot of good.
He has been doing a lot of good. He killed Beta.
He did kill Beta. He killed Alpha.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he didn't kill Beta. Who killed
Alpha?
Was it Glenn? No, not Glenn. Daryl killed Beta. He stabbed him, and then the walkers
I kind of missed that.
Took him over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like
it's already 11 o'clock.
I know. So yeah. So I don't think it's going to be difficult for Negan to kind of win any popularity contests now that Maggie's back. I don't think you can quite apologize for bashing your someone's husband and father of their unborn child in with Bat. But we do know that Daryl feels horrible about it, about some of the stuff or whatever, after seeing Maggie back. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So, John says, what he did with Alpha. Yeah. He definitely took one for the team with shacking up with Alpha. Ugh. Like that's.
Yeah.
You gonna leave that on, or you gonna take that off?
With the mask on.
Oh, with the mask on. Oh God. What kind of style do you think Negan is? Is he kind of a missionary, or is he kind of
I'm not going there.
Reverse cowgirl?
I'm not going there. I'm not. No. Oh.
I like kitties.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna end it there, right? You got anything else?
I don't have anything else.
We'll go ahead and end on that. Leave in the comments below what type of position you think Negan is, what type of guy he is. We'll be back next week. FaZe will be joining us. We'll kind of pick up where we left off here. We'll talk about this week's episode. We got some other gaming news and stuff we'll kind of go into. Make sure you leave a comment down below, leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that fancy stuff. Like I said in the end of the wrap up, There's purchase links in the descriptions down below of some of the things that we talked about today. If you use those, it doesn't increase the cost of your purchases on Amazon. They're just affiliate links, and basically what happens is Amazon gives us a kickback for you using those links, and we really appreciate that. It's a great way to support the channel. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
You're not talking in your microphone.
Bye.